Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the second in a small series that I'm doing about the kind of behind the scenes of my channel, how I got started, how I built it, how I got monetized, and etc. If you've missed the first video, you can check it out. It's linked here and in the description box below. In my first video, I covered more the basics of how I got started with my channel, and this one is going to talk a bit more about how I've kind of progressed since then, building up my channel, improving my production quality of my videos, and then I'm also going to talk a little bit about how I got monetized, how much money I make, etc., and as well how I kind of do some stuff behind the scenes with the metadata and how I create my videos to try and perform well in the YouTube algorithm. So if you're interested in this kind of content, make sure to stay tuned for the rest of this video. Before we get started, please support my channel by subscribing and hitting the bell button. You can also support me by going over to Instagram and following me at rachelalmond.digs. I would really appreciate a follow on either of these two platforms. It really helps me keep the channel going. Now that you've subscribed and followed me on Instagram, let's dig into today's video. First, we're going to kind of start out with my process for making videos and my kind of like schedule for making them. I'm not the greatest YouTuber in terms of doing a lot of stuff in advance. Maybe if I had more time to work on videos, I would be able to plan things, but I generally tend to do everything within about a 7-day cycle. Because I do have a full-time job, I usually end up filming my videos on a weekend. So what I will do on a Saturday is write my script / idea for what I want to talk about in my video, iron out or research anything that I want to put into it. And then on a Sunday, I will put some makeup on, maybe do my hair a little bit nice, and film the actual video. I have my whole setup is done in about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I also usually have my laptop with my script to the side that I reference. Once I finish my video, I then take my memory card out, I put it onto my computer, and I copy it over, and then I process it and upload it into Lightworks. Right after I finish filming, I also will take probably anywhere between 5 to 10 images to potentially use for my thumbnail for my video so that I'm in the same like hair and makeup as in the video. And this is something that I've learned to do after experimenting with like the auto-generated thumbnails for a while. Preferably I do this on a Sunday, but it usually bleeds over into Monday. And that whole process of processing can sometimes take a few hours. So I like to try and arrange things so that it's something that I just put in and I can just leave for a couple hours and go do other things so that my time is still productive and I'm not just waiting on the computer. So once the file is actually ready for me to edit in Lightworks, usually on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I then spend an evening editing my video. It usually takes me a couple hours to edit my videos down, even though my editing is really basic. You wouldn't believe the amount of ums that I have to cut out of every single one of my videos, or sometimes if I mess up what I'm saying and I start over, I obviously cut all of that out. My videos have a tendency to end up being about half the length of the original file. So if I film something and it ends up taking me about 40 minutes, the final product would be somewhere around 20 minutes. When I do my editing, I make sure that I always add in my watermark. Once the editing process is finished, I then click the button to start processing it into a video. While the video is processing, I usually go away and make the thumbnail and the Instagram post that I'm going to put up for the video. Once everything is kind of ready, I kind of try to put it all up and schedule it all in a oneer. This does usually end up being on a Wednesday night since I tend to post on Thursdays, and sometimes it even ends up being on an early evening on a Thursday. So that's kind of roughly my schedule and how I work things around. Now we're going to talk a little bit about metadata and working the algorithm. So the algorithm is the search and what determines where your videos will show up on the list. As I'm sure many of us know, people tend to click on and look at the first couple options. They're not tending to scroll a lot of the way down most of the time. So you want to try and appear at the top of those functions or in the suggestions for when people are watching YouTube. And there's a lot of different ways to kind of help your videos perform. Now, like the Google algorithm, which owns YouTube, the YouTube algorithm is not something that's released So a lot of the things that people do is kind of educated guesswork to try and help themselves perform a little bit better. And it's the same for me. It helps that I do a lot of this stuff in my regular job, so I kind of have a bit of an extra skill set when it comes to search engine optimization, also known as SEO. You've probably seen that word bandied about a lot. The first thing you should really be doing is obviously looking at your channel analytics. What kind of videos are the most popular on your channel? You can also look at what topics or search terms are bringing people to your channel, so you can see what kind of content people are looking for and then make content for that. How long people are tuning into your videos to help with length. That is one of the things that I really should make a change on, but I don't really feel like it. I tend to have quite long videos, as you probably know, and people tend to really dip off watching them after the first 5 minutes. I'm sure that if I had shorter videos, maybe I would have more views from people, but it's something that I kind of am at war with about myself, because on one hand, I like my videos to be well-researched and thorough, and you can't usually do that in a really short time frame with a lot of the topics that I cover. The content that I enjoy on YouTube tends to be longer rather than shorter. And also, I'm aware of the fact that YouTube is like any company. They want people to stay on their site, perusing their things, watching their ads for as long as humanly possible. And they reward people who keep people on the platform. So a longer video, if lots of people are watching it, it'll perform better. I could perhaps try and produce more content that's shorter, and that would probably work out better for me, but I just personally don't have the time in my day-to-day to be able to do like 2 videos a week or even a video once a week. I like to have a social life on weekends. Even sacrificing about a half a day for writing scripts and filming every other weekend can be a struggle for me sometimes. I also tend to make longer videos because I watched a creator once talk about in a video how she did a little experiment to look at monetization, and she noticed that all of her videos that were over 10 minutes made more on ads than all of her videos under 10 minutes. And this will obviously be because there is more potential for more ad breaks the longer your video is, so YouTube rewards that. Another thing that I tend to pay a lot of attention to that I think maybe a lot of people don't really think about is your metadata on your video. So the metadata is like things that the algorithm like reads in order to determine where you're going to place in a search. So these are things like the title of your video, the description of your video, the title of your thumbnail, the title of your video file that you're uploading, and your tags as 5 like key things that you should really be considering and making an effort to fill out when you're putting a video out on YouTube. The title is kind of something that I will get into later, but for things like your image titles, your video file title, and your description, you want to make sure that you are picking out keywords that you want to have in those things. So for me, for example, if I was doing a video on archaeology, I would want to make sure that all of that archaeology is mentioned in all of those 3 things, and probably also my title as well. Titles are a bit more of a science because there's a whole thing about you have to draw people in. So you maybe don't want to give away the plot of your entire video, or you want to try and ask a question to an audience to try and draw them in to watching your video, like having a good cover of a book, so to speak. But still, I try to prioritize putting my keywords into a lot of my titles. And then the last thing we're going to talk a little bit about is tags. So these are at the bottom of a page. You have to usually actually click a tab to show more to see them most of the time. But tags are tags you can put on your video. So and again, this helps with your search. So one thing that I would recommend doing is, if you want to do a specific genre of video, is to go to the top people that are doing those kinds of videos and then right click on their page and either inspect or view source, and then look for like tags and see if in the code for that page you can see what kind of tags they're using, and then you can perhaps apply some of those similar tags to your page. So for example, for a lot of my videos, I always put on archaeology, archaeologist. Let's say for this video, I'd put on like monetization, YouTube, algorithm, search engine optimization. There's really no limit for how many you can put on there. And the more that you put on there, like the better it will be for your video. So it just takes a little bit of thinking to kind of come up with quite a few tags, and it always does help. I'm not really going to talk about it because I don't really do it on this channel, but you can obviously also go down the route of using clickbait to draw people into your videos through thumbnails or titles that can be slightly misleading or like super dramatic, considering the content of your video isn't actually that dramatic. But personally, I hate clickbait, so I try not to put it on my channel, which is kind of ironic and shooting myself in the foot, because I'm sure if I did more clickbaity stuff, then I would have a bigger audience, but it is what it is. The last thing as well for promoting your videos and trying to get more views is to obviously not just leave it on YouTube. You want to promote it on as many social channels as you can. If you have a Facebook page, if you have a Twitter, Instagram, those are the two that I always post all my videos to. Okay, next we're going to talk about monetization, which I'm sure is probably the topic that most people are watching this video for, because everyone wants to know how to make money off of YouTube. And I would say that it is not an easy or simple process, certainly not as easy or simple as it was a decade ago. Trying to stand out and really draw in like a big enough audience to be able to support yourself off of YouTube is like it's a grind, and respect to people who've managed to do it. When I first started my channel in 2016, I actually got monetized fairly quickly. At that point, I think the only requirement at that time was having like 100 subscribers, which I reached fairly fast. So I got monetized, but when I got monetized, because I wasn't getting like thousands upon thousands of views, I was making like a couple cents per day. And I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize about YouTube is that you have to actually make a certain amount of money before they'll actually pay you. So it's not like you end up getting a check every month with like, you made 5 cents this month, or it will be at a certain amount of money that you have to have made. And once you've made that money, you will get paid it. Now, if you're meeting that bar consistently every month, you would get paid every month. Not happen for me. I generally get paid like once every 3 months, so about 4 times a year. So I ran my channel for about a year and a half, making small amounts of money, not enough to ever get paid. And then adpocalypse happened and my monetization disappeared on all my videos. So this was because they upped the requirement for being monetized from about 100 subscribers to having to have at least 1,000 subscribers and over 4,000 watch hours in the past 12 months. So that's really the key thing to remember there, is that it can't just be 4,000 watch hours total. It has to be within the past year. So that was the harder metric for me to meet. I think I actually did have about 1,000 subscribers at that time, but I definitely didn't have 4,000 watch hours, and my amount of watch hours that I had increased really slowly because I don't put out tons of content, so I wasn't getting tons and tons of views. So that's why I always ask people to watch to the end of my videos, or why I make longer videos, is because the couple of people that will watch to the end will help with that watch hours metric. To be fair, I have never really expected to be able to make a living off of my channel. It's kind of one of those things where it would be nice, but I think that the topic that I talk about is maybe like a little bit too niche, and I also don't dedicate enough time. Also, one of the biggest ways that YouTubers tend to make money nowadays is by having brand partnerships. My channel is obviously not about selling you products. It's about talking about a lifestyle. So that's kind of a harder thing to have brand partnerships for. The only one that I've kind of done so far is when there was a video game that I was interested in playing that was by some indie developers. I approached them, said, this is my channel, this is my audience, can I have a free copy of the game in exchange for a review? And they said, yeah. I've also through the channel been approached about like TV shows and interviews, and I've taken it pretty far in a couple instances, but it's never really panned out into anything yet. I've turned down a couple of them because they weren't the kind of thing that I wanted to be associated with. So maybe in future I'll be able to kind of go off in that direction, but you never know. So as you will notice, all of my videos are monetized, because I think it's only fair that if I go through the effort of making these videos, I should at least make something off of it, because YouTube will probably put ads on it anyway, and if anyone's gonna make money off of my videos, I should at least get a cut. Once I got demonetized in February 2018, it took me about 2.5 years to get monetized again for my videos, and this happened in August 2020. And honestly, the thing that kind of got it over the line was the fact that I was furloughed, so I actually did suddenly have lots of time for making videos, and I started making videos once a week, so obviously I was getting more views from that. And then I also talked about some pretty sensitive topics or inflammatory topics like racism and archaeology and ancient aliens, which brought like a huge amount of views to my channel in a short period of time and kind of helped push it over the finish line, so to speak, to get monetized. Since then, I make about 10 to 15 pounds a month off my channel. I actually worked it out once, and based on the amount of money that I've made up to this date on YouTube, I actually technically have earned like less than £1 an hour if you factor for the creation of all of my videos, if you like kind of put it on the average of like it taking me about a day to make one. So that's yeah, pretty pathetic. Way below minimum wage. I also only end up getting paid every couple months at this point in time. The bar in the UK is that you have to make £60 in order to get paid. Okay, so last but not least, we're gonna talk a little bit about how I've upgraded the kind of production quality of my videos. If you go all the way back to my first video, I can't really watch it because it's weird to watch yourself on screen, but also it's just so cringy. My camcorder did a weird autofocus thing that I can't like unsee now. So I've slowly upgraded the quality of my production throughout the couple of years that I've been doing this. And then also every time that I've gotten money from YouTube for my ads, I have taken that and kind of reinvested it back into the channel to get better equipment, basically. So the first thing that I kind of got was the memory card reader that I mentioned in my first video. After that, my next purchase was an actual tripod. In 2018, I invested in a new camera, which is a Canon EOS M100. It's a bridge camera, so it's kind of halfway between a point and shoot and a DSLR. I can change the lens on it, but it doesn't have like a viewfinder or a lot of the other features that you would find on like a full-blown DSLR. And I made the decision to get this camera because it was something that I could still use in my personal life as a camera without being too bulky to take around when I'm traveling. And it kind of ticked all the boxes that I wanted for my videos. The one thing that it doesn't have that I will consider when I next upgrade my camera is it doesn't support attaching a microphone, which is why my audio is probably still quite crap. Or sometimes when I film outside, my audio is quite crap. I've done it a couple times where I've recorded the audio into a microphone that goes onto my phone, but that's like a really basic way of doing it. It would be nice to actually be able to hook up a microphone and get better sound quality. My camera, my tripod, and my card reader, I all bought out of my own pocket. Once I got monetized again, the first thing I bought was a 2 terabyte hard drive to store all of my old video files, so I still have access to them if I need them or if I need to do anything to them. And it doesn't then clog up my actual computer that I do everything on. The second purchase that I've made is a ring light, which is being used today. It comes on a nice little tripod, and it's a circle that just attaches on top, and then the camera is right in the middle of it. I got it off of Amazon for like £30, and honestly, I've been really happy with it since I started using it. I will link it in the description. It's not an affiliate link in any way, shape, or form. The ring light has been really great in terms of allowing me a lot more flexibility in when I'm shooting during the day. In case you didn't know, I live in Edinburgh, Scotland. It's quite far north. Back when I was starting out, and for the vast majority of my videos, I was using natural light for lighting all of my videos, which means I obviously have to do it during the right time of day. And in the winter, we only seem to get about 4 hours of daylight. So it's a lot more limiting in terms of, you know, I have to be really on schedule to be able to get a video in. So having the ring light has actually really freed me up from that, and that's been like super useful. Okay guys, that's it for today. I hope that you've at least learned something a little bit useful that you can maybe employ towards building and creating your own YouTube channel. That's the end of this little series, unless you guys want more. If you want to know more or more specifics about anything, please let me know in the comments and I will do my best to create a video for you. I would love to know if you're already using some of the tips and tricks that I talked about today, or if you have any tips and tricks for me to perhaps improve my channel and, you know, get some more views so maybe I can make a little bit more money and upgrade things a little bit faster than like once every couple years. If you liked this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell notification to see more from me. Check out any of my other 80+ videos. And then if you have time, go and follow me at rachelalmond.digs on Instagram. I post on there a lot more frequently than I do on YouTube because it takes a lot less effort. And I've also been putting a lot of content up there that you don't see on this channel. All right, that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye!